welcome to my channel. My name is Kamira, and this is my review for Married at First Sight, Season 12, The Reunion Part 1. I definitely enjoyed the episode. I definitely enjoyed Kevin Frazier being the host. I think he did an overall awesome job with the questions that he asked and just hosting, period. Okay, let's go ahead and get into the episode. But before we do, please don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, share, and all of that good stuff. Yeah. Okay, so the first couple that we see is Virginia and Eric. I think my prediction was that she would say no and he would say yes. As we know by now, they both said yes. They recap their relationship, showing us the highs and lows. Eric mentioned that, watching it back and seeing himself was hard. And it was definitely a learning experience for him after the show. Virginia says, they're still getting to know each other and that they're constantly learning or continuously learning different ways to communicate with each other. And I do think, if you're open to kind of having those conversations, you're going to continue to learn about each other forever. You may change. You may not be the same person as 30 as you are at, 45 or 40 or, whatever. You're always changing. Anyway, they're happily still married. Virginia has moved into the condo with her cats. And she said she does feel more comfortable as time passes. She does have a room with the cat. And she doesn't know if his cat allergy is real or not. Anyway, they go through the fact that the wedding almost didn't happen because she basically had a COVID scare. So Kevin says, well, you both knew you were going to say yes on decision day. Virginia was like, we did? People are the reviews that I have watched are saying, had Virginia gone first to give her decision, would it have ended the same way? And I'm kind of curious about that as well. Just want to see. But she appreciated him asking her dad for permission to propose to her. So next, Kevin asked Virginia about her drinking because they did edit it in a way that made it seem like she has to have a drink to function for the most part. She says, yeah, I like my wine, but my drinking hasn't been an issue. I was like, well, it wasn't always wine. We've seen other things than wine, but, no judgment. She also said, but in this show, she said every Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, they go out drinking. You guys are going out to bars to drink wine? I don't think so, but okay. She said, her drinking was an issue and that she barely parties now. She said on occasion, she may have a drink. So she's claimed that she talked about it more than she actually did it. But most of the times when they kind of showed her, she did have a drink, except towards the end. I guess they probably tried not to film with alcohol, is what it kind of may seem like, but okay. Kevin says, you called Eric controlling. They showed the scene when they were in the bed and he was talking about the dog or something. She says, that was the wrong word to use. But looking back, she understands. Eric says watching it has been reflective and therapeutic. He claims to love her guy friends now, but even if you love your partner's friends, I still don't think he would be okay with her sleeping on their couches. I just don't. You can love them all day, but still bring yourself home. That's just my little commentary. Anyway, they say the biggest thing they still have to work on is communication and their tone when they are talking to each other, which is good. They showed Eric's mom. I don't know why she was there. She talked about how she had a health scare, which did, kind of let her think about having grandkids and Eric having a child. But the mom's advice basically was to always be honest with the person. And that was pretty much it. I don't think that scene was definitely needed. And they do drag these episodes out. But, okay. Next scene. the next couple that we see are Ryan and Clara. They look happy. He's kind of being affectionate. He's holding her as they're talking. They're still married. They do the flashback to recap their relationship and the highs and lows. As of right now, she's living with him. She feels right at home, her and Mishka. She says they communicate well. So the host, Kevin, asks about, the kids in the church. And, it's still being talked about between the two. They didn't really go into a whole lot of details about the kids thing. They did have an announcement. There was like, da-da-da-da. They were hoping for the I love you or like them being intimate or whatever. The announcement was they're going to be having a vow renewal because they want to be able to invite more people, because I think they got married around like COVID stages, because Virginia had a COVID scare. So they want to be able to invite more people and be able to have a good party. They're doing it for the naysayers is what Ryan says. And then he says, I'm looking at you, Kevin, because Kevin said, that he was not the person for Clara. And to be honest, Ryan, a lot of YouTubers said it. I didn't see it for a long time. I still kind of don't see it. I feel like my 50 Shades of Grey comparison may be what it is. But I think that's what it is. But that's just what I think. Anyway, she talks about her fear of loving someone or being loved back went away as Ryan sent those the gift on the wedding day. I think she's lying, but okay. Next, they show the flashback with Eric and Virginia, and Clara said that if at 6 months you haven't said it, then she would be out. They still had not said I love you yet, but they're having a vow renewal. Like, what sense did that make? Why, if you guys were talking about a vow renewal, like, what is he gonna say? And he gonna read the same vows that he said at the Married at First Sight wedding? Is he gonna add to them? Is he gonna say I love you? But anyway, they had not said it at that point in the episode. So the host, Kevin, says, well, Ryan, do you love her? Like, stop beating around the bush. Like, it's not like we go on walks, whatever. Like, boy, do you love her or not? And Ryan definitely seemed uncomfortable with being asked, like, on the spot. But, like, we all want to know. Answer the question. Ryan says, yes, I think I do. He said it a few times to where, like, you can tell he was trying to, like, convince himself or, like, talk himself into, like, being confident in saying that. But anyway, he says, yes, I think I do. I love you. I love my wife. They kiss. Claire was like, thanks, guys, because he had not said it to her before then. She says, his actions have said it, even though he wasn't saying it verbally. They bring up the topic of sex. They showed a clip of Clara venting and being frustrated with the other women. And you can tell Ryan was like cringing a little bit watching that. He says that, he feels bad about making her feel like that. And Kevin says, well, have you guys been intimate? Have you guys had sex? Clara says, maybe we will tonight. Since she thought he's waiting for like a magical, stars in the sky type thing for him to say, I love you. So now that he has said that, will he now want to keep going? So she says, maybe we will tonight. He says, they talked about Dr. Viviana saying, was he a virgin? He was like, no. Hi, Mom. Like, maybe he was conscious of that the entire time that he was being filmed and his parents would watch it. Maybe that kind of had a lot to do with how Ryan came off on the show. Just curious about that. They show a never before seen footage about Clara shopping a lot, but she really didn't have a whole lot of responsibility, so she was shopping. But she shopped before Prime Day, which is weird because, like, girl, you could just wait one more day. But anyway, she says the biggest adjustment is no cameras, and they like it that way. She says she needed someone like him. They can deal with issues when they happen and, feel your feelings, and that Ryan has to get into the habit of you know, talking about things when they happen. The host asked, well, 20 years from now, where do you guys see yourself? Right, they both said like matching outfits, happy, growing, and you know, like their parents, because I think both of their parents are still together. Ryan's parents are together, and so are Clara. So they want to be kind of similar to their parents. And Ryan says that there was a lot that was not seen on TV, and I believe that, because the way Clara was like so expressive, it just seems like there was something that we were all missing because we were not seeing it, but it could have been because of the camera. So, you know, whatever, you know, good for them. They're together, vow renewal. They might get a special of them showing the vow renewal. So, you know, good for them. If it works for them, you know, cool beans. All right, next couple. The next couple we see is Brianna and Vincent. For the most part, we were all rooting for them. They were definitely my favorite couple of this season. Vincent grew his hair out, which was fine. It looked fine. Looked nice. Brianna looked very cute. I loved her hair and her makeup. So I wrote down that I just loved seeing a dark-skinned woman be loved. Like, you don't really see like our love stories on TV. I hate to even say dark-skinned, but I know she said that about herself, you know, when they were at the ballet studio. But I just love seeing it. I think she's great. I love seeing women that don't fit what they show what's on TV as like black women being like angry, aggressive, whatever, all of that. I just love seeing it, and she's great to me. They both are still happily married. They both really wanted the process to work from day one. You can tell they both were like in it and wanted to be in it. They do make comparisons to Woody and Omani, and I don't think they really compare. Woody was like real silly. People thought it was fake, but like that was just really him. I don't think they're Woody and Omani, but they're still a good couple. It's still a great match, and we're still rooting for them. They're just separate. I mean, they're both black couples, yes. I guess if they're talking about in that way, but like, no, they're different, but that's just my little 2 cents. They're both currently living at Vincent's place. They have his clothes in the pantry. Her clothes are in the room. Cute apartment. Kevin asked, well, what compromises and adjustments have you guys made? Brianna says, you know, I can't have everything my way. Yeah, girl. And it's okay. You know, she said she's done lots of compromising, excuse me. And I noticed that she does mention the size of the apartment. So people were like, why did she move into his place then if her place was bigger? I think Brianna had a roommate. I think I read that somewhere that she had a roommate. So that would make sense to move to, you know, his place if she had a roommate, because she talks about it being a 2-bedroom, but like, were both bedrooms yours or what? So yeah, I just read that somewhere. You know, they're working on having a bigger place. They talked about wanting to buy a condo and visiting the Dominican Republic soon. They said, you know, they're blending their families fine. No real issues there. Both families are nice, and they kind of just click together. And Vincent says, you know, he does try to continue to like date her because, you know, he wants to make her happy. If that means stopping somewhere to get her flowers or stopping to get her favorite thing or stopping, he doesn't mind doing that. And I think that's pretty cool. Like, you know, why not? If you know it's going to make the person happy and it's not going to really inconvenience you too much, why not just go ahead and do that extra thing that it takes to make the person happy? So their plans for the future is to buy a home and to talk about kids. So apparently they kept one of their nephews, and now Brianna is having baby fever, and listen, is just like, it's a lot of work. So my question was, you know, I hope that they're still gonna meet with doctors. I'm sure they will. They're smart people. You know, meet with doctors and kind of figure out what their options would be when it comes to having birth. I'm sorry, not having birth, but having a baby. They get on the topic of her being bossy. And Vincent backpedaled. He said, you know, I didn't think it was a bad thing and all that kind of stuff. Yes, you did. We saw it. But okay. You know, she admits that she can tone it down. And, you know, there will be different needs for, like, being at home and being more softer, and at work being more stern, being more assertive. So, yeah, you can balance that out. And he said he's proud of her being an engineer. Kevin brings up, you know, Vincent has been a little sensitive. They kind of show it back. He says that, you know, he was anxious knowing that there are millions of people watching him. And, you know, he wanted to be like this smooth, cool guy, but there were times when he definitely felt embarrassed and he was scared of what people would say of him. So he admits he was definitely overreacting at different times. So the never before seen footage they show is Vincent's boot camp. I need one of those. And, you know, they worked out. It was cute. He was breakdancing, having fun. Like, it seemed like they were just kind of serious so much that they forgot to really show, like, them having fun and being silly. We all need that, you know, to be silly a little bit. But as they showed it, I noticed that his cheeks were getting red, which is what Brianna said she loved about him during decision day. His cheeks were definitely getting red. They have a cute Spanish lesson, and Brianna got 5 out of 6 of the words correct. So, pretty cool. I definitely enjoyed their segment. I thought it was pretty cool. Okay, next scene. In the next scene, we see all the women come together, and they have definitely become friends over this process, and they flash back to the days before the wedding. The women were out. It wasn't a bachelorette party, but they were out like before that. And I wrote down that Paige seems more lively. And Clara was like super talkative about sex. And Paige was like, she was just fun. Like it really does seem like he kind of took something from her. She was like bubbly and like fun. Like I said it already, I know I did, but like her personality seemed real like bubbly and like, I don't know. It's like looking at her now on the show, her personality has definitely changed. Now, yes, Claire too, because she was definitely more talkative. And now she's looking at him to like check with him before she answers any questions. So there was definitely a difference. But, you know, anyway, Clara claims that Ryan talks about sex more than she does. And I feel like Clara and Paige have both like made themselves smaller. There's a song that says we shrink ourselves to fit. That's that Beyonce song when they were like, we shrink ourselves to fit things. And it reminded me of them in this scene, you know. Hailey says, Kevin talks about how Hailey changed after they had intercourse. And people want to know, like, was it trash? Because people have all been saying that. She said she wanted to find ways to connect with him, which reminds me of Chris because he said the same thing. And she says, you know, the last straw was when they couldn't connect physically. And she said it was nowhere good, the intercourse. But, so that was day 3. So that means, like, after that, there was nothing else to go on, nothing else that she could really connect with in the marriage. And again, that reminds me of Chris. It's different, but it reminds me of him too. I'm like, if you checked out day 3, what are we still doing here? Why did y'all, you know, force it for 8 weeks? But anyway, you know, no one's surprised it didn't work. He has blocked Hailey on everything. And I'm not surprised. But I also know people have been in Jake's DMs, and he has also been in people's DMs, based from what YouTube has said. And no surprise there. No surprise. Virginia talks about having a long time in marriages, and Brianna keeps discussing the small space, and you know, talk about again how a long time is needed. I think everybody can agree to that. You know, you do need time by yourself, which I definitely enjoy. Kevin asked, you know, Paige How is it watching others be happy and successful in the process, knowing what you were dealing with Chris? She says, it was extremely uncomfortable, sad, disappointing, and, she wanted to love. She was willing. She said she had a wedding and a funeral basically in the same day. And, everybody tried to encourage her throughout it to call, BS and say, they tried to encourage her throughout. They tried to encourage her to, call him out. Let him know how you're really feeling and not just make yourself small to fit whatever he needed you to do. But, they tried to let her be and not force their opinions on her of her situation. You can tell someone all day to leave or whatever. They're going to do what they want to do until they're ready. You can't make someone do anything until they are ready. And, she wasn't ready yet. And to be honest, I still don't think she's ready to just let him go. Because, again, the whole thing about having something versus having nothing, which is better. But anyway, Clara's like, he's been engaged twice. And he said what she wanted to hear, which he did. It's so weird. Like, which one is real? What you were telling her in her ear or what you said on camera? Like, which one is what you really thought of her? Because we still kind of don't know. Anyway, they get into the, trying to uplift Paige. It's not, no one's looking bad at, well, not no one, because people definitely are. But, it wasn't just Paige going back to Chris. It was both of them making decisions together to come back to each other. So, they shared their Ryan said, Clara shares in this same scene. Clara shared that Ryan says, I love you. And they're all happy for her. Like, yeah, good for you, girl. Anyway, so the girls went on a trip to Mexico for girls' time and relaxation. Everybody except Clara, she had to work, I think. And for me, I think I could be friends with Paige or Brianna. I don't see myself being friends with Clara because the whole I wanted a racially ambiguous man. I don't like that. And then I feel like Hailey is a Karen, so no. But I could definitely see myself hanging with Kyra from Ready to Love and Brianna and Paige for sure. And they're planning another girls trip soon. Okay. Last scene of this, or scene of this episode. In the last scenes, we see Paige and Chris. So I wrote down that Paige has a nice smile. People were talking about her makeup on the different reviews that I watched. But I'm going to be honest, I don't know much about makeup. Yes, I have makeup on right now. I hope it looks okay, but I don't know what was wrong with her makeup, to be honest. I don't know. But anyway, they flash back to everything, and it has definitely been a roller coaster. They discuss, it's time now to speak your truth. They asked them, has this been the first time you all have seen each other since decision day? They both say no, and that they have gone to counseling to try to reconcile. My question was, people were saying like, oh, she's stupid for trying to reconcile. But isn't that a stipulation for divorce? Because I think, if I'm not mistaken, from listening to Iris and Keith from whatever season it was, they said that you're not divorced on that day if you decide to get a divorce. You have to go through whatever the state's process is to get your divorce. So, hi, Mommy. So they're not together. Chris says the only reason is Chris Williams, the second or third or whatever, is not mature. And I know I don't deserve someone like her right now. He talks about if the circumstances were different. And Kevin, the host, was like, well, what circumstances? He says, oh, I don't want to answer. But you just said that. So, why not explain what you meant by what you just said? But anyway, Paige said, let's be clear. It was a mutual decision to not be together going forward. Was it though? But she says it wasn't. Now, unfortunately, And I was worried about this for her mental health myself when they showed the clip of Chris saying, you know, he wasn't attracted to her face. She had to sit there and watch that. It probably wasn't the first time, but they kind of made it seem like it was the first time she was seeing it. And, you know, she's like, I can't believe he said that. She's devastated. It broke her spirit, which is what I'm sure it did. Because how do you deal with somebody saying that? Who you're trying to actively reconcile with? Ugh, sucks. He sucks. Anyway, Kevin says, you know, what black women are watching, you know, what would you say now? We watching. He says, you know, I repent to all of you. I apologize to her parents. I'm embarrassed, blah, blah, blah. You repent to all of us. We're not who you should be repenting to. I don't think. Like, I know you should be repenting to God, right? But okay. Kevin says, you know, it all sounds a little bit rehearsed to me. And I completely agree. Thank you for calling him out, because he definitely had some media training. You could even tell when he would talk, he would kind of like, Like he would kind of try to calm himself down before he answered it. So you knew. But anyway, Kevin asked, well, he asked, well, do you guys Kevin asked Paige, do you regret sleeping with him so many times? It looked like Paige was ready to answer, but Chris whispered something in her ear, and she was just like, you know, we don't want to answer that question. So Kevin says, well, Chris, when did you know that Mercedes was pregnant? He says, the day after the wedding. Sure you did. Sure you did. The day after, when you called her and said, let's plan this thing and get me out of this. That's what I think. Anyway, at this point, you can tell Chris is becoming more and more annoyed with the questions. He says, you know, it's not fair to answer certain questions in front of Paige about the Mercedes, about being in love with the lady Mercedes, you know, whatever. Like I said, he tried to remain calm. Kevin says, well, have you and Pastor Dwight made up? He was like, no, and I don't want to, is what he said. So, Kevin says, well, Pastor Dwight is here. Let's bring him on out. They showed a clip of Pastor Dwight talking to Paige. And to be honest, I don't see what he did wrong. I mean, okay, she didn't know he was engaged before, but he said it on the casting special, so it would have came out anyway. I have been seeing so many reviews, and it's a little bit disheartening what they're saying about Pastor Dwight, because I don't agree with what a lot of they're saying. But let me go ahead and finish about the episode. He says, you know, he's disappointed that he talked to his wife. Why is she your wife when it's convenient for you? Like when you need to make a point, she's your wife. But like you could really care less about Paige because your actions show you don't really care about her. But, you know, whatever. Pastor Dwight looked nice. He said that he was his spiritual mentor. You know, I tried to reach out to him, but when I saw you weren't receptive, I pulled back. Who doesn't do that? If you telling your friend the same thing about a guy, they don't listen to you, you're going to stop saying the same thing. So that's what Pastor Dwight says he did. He says, you know what, Chris? Regardless of all of this, I love you and I wish the best for you. Which is what he should have said that. I mean, if you guys had a relationship before this show, I feel like it's very unfortunate that you all are at this point. But let's get back into the episode. Chris says, it's fake. You were my friend. He should have told him they were going to talk. Why? When Pastor Dwight talked to Chris, when he told them that he wanted to get a divorce from Paige, and Pastor Dwight was telling him about how great Paige was, he was not receptive. So he decided to talk to Paige on his own. And she was receptive to the advice, she was open to it. She was receptive to whatever he had to say, basically. Chris says, excuse me, that Pastor Dwight was tearing Mercedes down to build up Paige. First of all, no, he didn't. It don't seem like he would have done that. Him on the show, it doesn't seem like he was that type of person to be wanting to tear Mercedes down. The clip they showed, Paige said, I don't know if she's really pregnant. Pastor Dwight said, well, if she's not, he's going to be looking like, well, where is Paige? That's all he said from what they showed. Now, but anyway, Kevin was just like, hold up. You just spent time talking about Mercedes to diminish, I just spit, sorry. He said you were spending time diminishing Paige just now, right before that. So how can you really talk about anything? Paige, it breaks her spirit and she wants them to remain friends. Pastor Dwight says, if we don't mend things, that's fine. And he says, Chris does not like correction. When he said that word correction, Chris was just going off. F you ain't this, you ain't that, meet me outside, how about that? Like, it was a lot. And it was definitely but you were somebody's pastor yourself before, acting like this. I forgot, as they were talking back and forth, Pastor Dwight said, you know what, you're not going to disrespect me. He kept saying, it's for you, Kevin. Oh, he sat there for a while before he started doing the whole tough guy act. He sat there for a while. He tries to compose himself, but he could not. He says, I'll take help from Pastor Cal, but you didn't. In the grand scheme of things, you didn't. But he says, I'll take help from Pastor Cal, but not Pastor Dwight. Why? He's your friend. If your friend is a pastor, you would go for them for spiritual guidance. If I'm not, why wouldn't you do that? And I feel like Chris may have wanted the life Pastor Dwight may have. It could be a stretch. I don't know. Let me continue. Like I said, they have back and forth. And Paige was in the middle. And he said, you have an issue, meet me outside in the parking lot. To do what? Fight? What? Now, the end of the episode. Now, for my little 2 cents. I have been seeing a lot of comments about Pastor Dwight. One, about him being fine. But again, y'all, he has a wife and kids. So let's try to be respectful of that. Secondly, I don't think it was for clout or any of that. First of all, Chris brought him on the show. He didn't sign up for it. Chris signed up for it. That's one thing. And secondly, if you're a pastor, and I like that Pastor Dwight kept his composure and was calm. He didn't match Chris' energy during their whole exchange, which was just so disrespectful to me. Now, on the flip side, I did hear about a live that Chris did, and he was trying to explain, even though his behavior was just trash, there's no excuse. The only little piece of whatever is he said that he was asked by production to film with Pastor Dwight. He said he didn't want to do it. And he was under the impression that it wouldn't happen after he said that. So I guess Pastor Dwight may have known, for a while now that he would be on the show, on a reunion, to talk about this whole situation. And so they're saying Pastor Dwight had time to, compose himself, but I don't think that he would have, if it had been the same day or whatever, he wouldn't have had that same energy that Chris had. It was just terrible. Even though he didn't have time to prepare, he went to media training. So that should have given him tools to use to compose himself, period. And the way that you're acting is how you are. But yeah, and then somebody was saying he's always wanted to be the aggressor, but he's also walking away at the same time. Do I want them to fight? Absolutely not. No. Who wants to? No. Y'all too old for that. But it was just sad to see how Chris talked to Pastor Dwight, because it didn't seem warranted, in my opinion. If you guys are still, if y'all are friends or were friends before, have a conversation. You may not agree with what I did or how I'm treating her. Tell me. I get that. But at the same time, he marries you guys, so I feel like it wasn't a big deal for him to meet with her and kind of talk about things and kind of just comfort her, because again, y'all, her friends and family were not there throughout the season. They maybe went film with her or whatever, but I mean, she needed somebody to talk to, vent to. Nobody else wanted to film with her, apparently. So, I don't know. I don't think it was a big to-do. I think Chris, if he was trying to use this for like a, you know, like business ventures outside of the show to like gain a following and all that kind of stuff, or like be cast for different things, I don't think it's going to happen. That's just my opinion. And yeah. That is pretty much all I have to say. I hope Paige, you know, is in a better space, better headspace. I think she's pretty. You know, what I mean, I just hope that, you know, what he says doesn't tear her down so much, because looking at her on like that first episode and how she was now is definitely different people. But anyway, you guys, that was the end of my review. Thank you, and thank you for watching. Please don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. And I will see you guys on the next one. Bye.